Hey guys, I hope all is well. Thank you for joining me for this Truth Talk episode. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Charlamagne Tha God's dark past. But before we begin, I just wanted to remind you guys to subscribe to my second channel, Truth Network, and also follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I want to make sure that if something ever happens to my channel, I still have a way to connect with you guys. So please, if you can, subscribe to my second channel, Truth Network now, and go follow me on Instagram and TikTok. All the links will be in the description of this video. Thank you all. Now let's get right into it. Radio broadcasting is one of the most consumed forms of media ever created. People at home or on the go who drive to work or are driving for work rely on radio shows to keep them entertained. In New York City, radio stations like Power 105.1 or Hot 97 were two massive stations with millions of listeners. People would tune into these radio stations on the daily and would fall in love with the personalities who hosted these radio shows. This birthed names like Funk Flex, Ebro in the Morning, Angie Martinez, and Charlamagne Tha God with The Breakfast Club, whom we'll be talking about today. Charlamagne Tha God is one of the most popular radio personalities in hip-hop. Being a part of The Breakfast Club since 2010 has allowed him to grow a cult-like fan base. The fact that he's been on the radio for over 13 years has made him a legend in the radio broadcasting space. He was once known as one of the most controversial figures in radio, as he wasn't afraid to ask wild and inappropriate questions that would make his guests feel uncomfortable. This made Charlamagne more entertaining to the audience, as he was different from the other radio hosts, and he was like a new, younger version of Star, who was known for a familiar style. The audience was growing tired of the same safe radio personalities, who all they did was praise a celebrity guest. Charlamagne was different. He was unpredictable and said things that made the audience wow and gasp. This made him stick out as the obvious star of the Breakfast Club show, which only became more apparent as the show went on and grew bigger. Nowadays, Charlamagne is completely different from when he first started. Not only does he look like a whole new person, but he acts like one too. Charlamagne now avoids being toxic and disrespectful, which was essentially his whole identity, and now acts like a PC robot who no longer speaks his mind. Even though Charlamagne has shedded his old ways and has been reborn, his past has found a way to come back to haunt him. While many of his fans know him today as a legendary radio personality, 20 years back, he was known for something completely different. A couple days back, Charlamagne was actually exposed by another radio personality, Funk Flex. Funk Flex, while going at DJ Envy for allegedly playing a part in scamming a bunch of Breakfast Club listeners, directed a few shots at Charlamagne. Flex brought up a pending lawsuit that has been filed against Charlamagne Tha God over an incident that happened with a 15-year-old girl when Charlamagne was a 22-year-old man. The incident the lawsuit is referring to is in regards to a woman named Jessica Reed and an incident that happened between her and Charlamagne Tha God back in 2001. According to the accuser, she met Charlamagne through a mutual friend named Rico. She claims that Charlamagne was interested in her romantically, but she wasn't interested in him that way. Jessica claims that one day, 2 weeks before Charlamagne's birthday, he invited her to his birthday party. At first, she didn't want to attend the party, but then she changed her mind and ended up showing up. Jessica then claims that while at the party, she started to get nervous and uncomfortable due to the fact that there were way too many men there. Eventually, she claims that Charlamagne went and prepared some alcoholic beverages, and Jessica and her friend, who accompanied her to the party, drank them. She claims that after they drank these beverages made by Charlamagne, they started to feel weak and dizzy. Things got stranger when her friend also started to get sick and rushed to the bathroom. Jessica tried to go to the bathroom to be with her friend, but when she got up, her legs felt like noodles, so she collapsed to the ground. This is when things got dark. And unfortunately, I can't go into too much details here on YouTube so I don't run into issues. At this point, Jessica claims that she started hearing the guys at the party laughing at her, including Charlamagne himself. She claims that Charlamagne then instructs his friends to take her upstairs to the bedroom. This is when she claims that she was R-worded by multiple people, including Charlamagne as well. At the end of it, all of those at the party would leave Jessica in a bathroom, unable to process what she had just been put through. A man at the party, who I'm assuming didn't participate in the situation, would end up letting Jessica use his phone to call emergency services. After Jessica and her mother gave a statement to police, it led to Charlamagne getting arrested 2 years later. The police investigation quickly found evidence that proves Jessica's story. They found a wall with a punch-sized hole in it that was done by Jessica during the commotion. They also found Jessica's bracelets in one of the bedrooms. Charlamagne would eventually plead to a lesser charge of contributing to delinquency of a minor for providing the beverages, but he was not charged for the rest of the crimes. he would be given 3 years of probation for his crimes. This statement was given by a member of the courts in regards to why Charlamagne had gotten the plea deal to begin with. The plea was negotiated because the alleged victim in the matter did not cooperate with the prosecutor. The prosecutor made this agreement because of the victim's absence and lack of evidence available at the time. While the tools and technology of justice have evolved, in cases involving personal violence, the state must have a witness to prosecute. Too often, the key witness will not come forward in support of criminal prosecution. Trying a tough case is no problem. Trying an impossible case is not ethical. According to Jessica, he only got off because her mother didn't want her to get on the stand back then, as she felt she was too young to be going through that. Instead, Jessica and her mother just ended up moving to a different state trying to start over. All while Charlamagne never dealt with repercussions for his crimes and went on to become a radio superstar. Years later, Jessica has decided to file a lawsuit against Charlamagne that is currently ongoing. She is suing him for what he allegedly did to her all those years back, when she was only 15 years old. Charlamagne has since denied all allegations, claiming he never did anything to her like that, even though he did plead guilty to giving her the drink that night. In this situation, it clearly appears that something did indeed take place that night between her and Charlamagne. Charlamagne wasn't a star yet, even though he was already working in radio, and Jessica was just a 15-year-old girl, so why would she make this up? For what purpose? It's not like she knew Charlamagne would eventually be this big radio star that she can sue in the future. The fact that Charlamagne pleaded guilty proves he had some involvement that night. Despite all this evidence, Charlamagne sticks to his story that he was cleared and the case was dismissed because he claims he didn't do it, stating that he would never do anything like that. The thing is, some of his old tweets don't seem to support this narrative he is trying to push. Some old Charlamagne Tha God tweets have resurfaced from all the way back in 2009 and 2010. In these tweets, we see Charlamagne making some very inappropriate statements. In one tweet he said, "Furthermore, R. Kelly had the best celebrity S tape of all time." Obviously, Charlamagne is referring to the infamous tape where R. Kelly did something very disturbing to a young girl. Charlamagne openly claims this tape was the best tape of all time. A tape that features a young girl about the same age as Jessica was when Charlamagne gave her that drink at that party. Is that a coincidence or a confession? You tell me. In another tweet, Charlamagne states, R. Kelly looks 20-something. The fountain of youth clearly can be found within Teenage V. Again, a very inappropriate tweet that clearly seems to let us know a lot about Charlamagne's way of thinking. Claiming that young girls are the fountain of youth doesn't help a man who has allegations like he does. Something I did notice was that Charlamagne was switching his story about what happened with Jessica a few times. I myself caught him doing this while investigating this story. 10 years back, Charlamagne did an interview with DJ Academics and told him that he did nothing with Jessica, claiming that he even left the party before anything happened to her.
Charge, how you beat that?
Because I didn't do it. It was a criminal conduct with a minor charge.
That means you would have to like register the
Yeah,
right?
It was the year 2000, 2001. I think I was like 20. I was 20 years old. My cousin had just graduated. I invited her to the party. See, she was at the party. She got drunk, high, whatever. Something happened in the room with a couple of my dudes. I'm asking them, did they mess with the chick? No, after the fact, after she pressed charges, and they was like, no. But they was like, yo, she's bugging. I remember the night of, yo, she's in here bugging out. She kicking over the TV. The next morning, she said she got, I bought the alcohol. They was like, well, you're not even of age to buy alcohol. And I'm like, well, how'd you get it? Well, I got a crackhead to get it for me. Whatever. So 2 weeks later, they come and arrest me for criminal conduct with a minor. So I had to get blood and hair follicles.
Oh, you going down there to Niche Lane?
They ain't had nobody else they depended on. So being that I went down there and took full responsibility, lock him up.
But if we listen to what he said during an episode of Brilliant Idiots a couple years back, he states a different tune.
Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I got this girl real drunk, and
just that sentence sounds a little fishy. I got her drunk.
I didn't just get her drunk. I remember going. I went to the store and got Spanish Fly.
Oh, so you
shut up. Spanish Fly.
They sell it in the Spanish store.
I'm telling the truth. They spell it in the Spanish store. I put the Spanish Fly in the E&J, drinking the E&J. So in my mind, I don't think shit really worked, but I felt like I got money as a too. Right? She was drunk and shit, and we had and shit, and like a lot of my boys was trying to come in the room and I'm like, nah, chill out. I can't. I'm not doing that.
In this Brilliant Idiot episode, Charlamagne tells a story that sounded very similar to what Jessica is claiming happened to her. In the episode, Charlamagne can be heard telling Andrew Schultz about a time where he put something in a drink he claims he drank and also gave to a girl. He then claims that he and the girl got too wasted and ended up hooking up that night. He also claims that his boys lied about hooking up with her, confirming that it was only him. Now, I don't know if Charlamagne was referring to Jessica in that story, but unless he's done this to multiple people, which if so, I wouldn't be surprised, I think he's referring to Jessica with this story, which to me proves something did happen that day between them both. It's clear to me Charlamagne was there and that something indeed might have happened to that girl. When we look at those tweets and those comments he said out of his own mouth, it becomes clear as day what happened. What's interesting is that even though these allegations were present since the early 2000s, Power 105.1 and iHeartRadio still hired Charlamagne to work as a radio host. We know they perform a background check, so they would have known Charlamagne's past, but still hired him and made him a radio star. Considering what's happening now with the whole DJ Envy situation, you can see Power doesn't mind hiring questionable people. For those that haven't heard, DJ Envy is also recently in hot water after it's being revealed that he seems to be involved in promoting a Ponzi scheme that scammed many people out of millions of dollars. The worst part about that is that Envy on several occasions promoted this scam on his nationally syndicated radio show, exposing the scams to millions of victims. According to Envy, just like Charlamagne, he had no involvement in the scam, claiming he himself was a victim of the scam. Even though Envy was the one who introduced Caesar the scammer to the world to scam several times on his show. Before the whole business was labeled a scam, Envy was proudly promoting it to his fan base. Now that the feds are investigating the situation as a real estate scam, Envy is acting like he never mentioned it. I truly hate it when celebrities scam their fans. It sincerely bothers me. Celebrities know they have so much influence over their fans, the very fans that provide these people with fame and a good life. When these celebrities don't care about the audience enough to respect and protect them, it's truly a sign of what kind of people they are. Whether Envy knew it or not, my opinion is he's still liable, as he was the one who introduced his fans who trusted him to this scam. If it wasn't for him shouting it out, no one would have invested in it, something that many victims have already stated. In my opinion, I'm not dumb enough to believe Envy wasn't involved in the scam since the beginning. These celebrities take advantage of their fans all the time and rarely get caught for it. I think I should take a closer look into Envy and this scam. If you guys want to see that, comment DJ Envy below. I hope all the victims of Envy and Caesar get justice, just like Jessica deserves justice as well. These are the two guys that Power got working up at the Breakfast Club. One allegedly has a past with young girls, while the other is allegedly involved in a $17 million scam. This lets you know what moral standing this radio station has. In my opinion, I believe Charlamagne is trying to cover up the truth because he knows how damaging it could be. Nowadays, Charlamagne pretends to act like a caring man who is in tune with social issues. This story being true can not only destroy that image, but also his career. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.